All right, ready for a deep dive into something kind of unexpected? We're talking about the power of asking for help.
Yeah, and we've got some interesting sources here,
Oh, what kind?
like these morning thoughts, little bits of wisdom, They're all about strength, vulnerability, human connection.
Interesting. And you said unexpected. How so?
What they really flip the script on how we see success, especially for, the alpha personality types.
Hmm, alphas always got to be the strong ones. I'm intrigued. What's the unexpected part?
It's like there's this paradox. The things that make alpha successful, like being independent, self-reliant, leading the pack,
Those are all good things, right?
absolutely. But the sources suggest those very strengths can make it hard to ask for help.
So, like being good at doing things yourself can actually make it harder to ask for help when you need it.
Yeah, exactly. The first source even calls it the alpha paradox. For these driven people, reaching out can feel like admitting defeat.
That makes sense. You don't want to seem like you can't handle things on your own.
Mhm.
I can see that.
And there's a deep psychological layer to it, too. Asking for help can trigger this fear of appearing vulnerable, like you're losing control.
Especially for people who pride themselves on being competent, in control. Yeah, that makes sense. But how do we break free from that? The second source talks about reframing help as a strategic move, and that really struck me. It's like, instead of weakness, it's a way to make your strengths even stronger.
Yeah, that's a powerful shift. And for alphas who are always thinking strategically, this reframing can be huge. Suddenly, it's not about defeat. It's about using all your resources to achieve bigger, better things.
Okay, I'm liking this, but how does that actually work in real life? Like, can you give me some examples of how asking for help is actually strategic?
Absolutely. Let's say you're leading a complex project. It might be tempting to micromanage every single detail.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But think about it. Wouldn't it be more strategic to delegate tasks to people who are experts in those areas? You're using their strengths to get a better outcome for everyone.
So instead of trying to do it all, you become the strategist, like conducting an orchestra instead of playing every instrument yourself.
Exactly. Or imagine you're stuck on a really tough problem. Talking it through with a colleague or mentor, that could lead to a breakthrough you wouldn't have had alone. Sometimes getting an outside perspective helps you see the solution you missed.
Right, because even the smartest people can benefit from collaborating. Asking for help doesn't make you less capable, it actually adds to what you can do.
And it's not always just about, solving practical problems. Asking for emotional support when things are tough, that can be strategic too.
I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like asking for help with work stuff, that's one thing. But emotions, that feels different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's this idea that we should be able to handle our emotions by ourselves, that asking for help with that is weak.
Yeah, like you should just suck it up or something.
Right. But these sources, they really challenge that. They say acknowledging your emotional needs and getting support, that's actually self-aware and strong.
So it's like saying, hey, I'm human. I don't have to have it all figured out all the time.
Exactly. And one source points out this really interesting thing. Asking for help can actually be a gift to the person you're asking.
A gift. I don't get it.
Think about it. Someone comes to you and says, I really value your opinion, or your support means a lot. That feeling of being needed, appreciated, like you're making a difference for someone, that's powerful.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. It's not a burden, it's a chance to connect, to help each other out.
Exactly. It's that human need for reciprocity. When you ask for help, you're not just taking, you're giving someone a chance to contribute, to feel valued, to strengthen your bond.
Right, so it's like this cycle. You ask, they help, the relationship grows stronger, and you both end up supporting each other more in the future.
That's it, this upward spiral of trust and connection. And even if the person can't give you the exact help you need right then, just reaching out still matters.
So, like knowing someone's there for you, even if they can't solve the problem, that can still be comforting.
Absolutely. It shows the strength of your relationship. You feel comfortable being vulnerable with them, and they care enough to listen and offer support, even if it's just listening.
This is making me rethink how I approach asking for help. I used to see it as a last resort, only when I'm totally out of options. But now it sounds more like it could be a proactive thing, even strategic.
Exactly. And the sources suggest that this way of thinking can lead to some serious personal growth.
Oh, interesting. How does asking for help lead to personal growth?
Well, when you ask for help, you're admitting you don't have all the answers. You're open to new perspectives, new ways of thinking, new possibilities you might not have seen before.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's like stepping outside your own little bubble and seeing things from a totally different angle.
Exactly. And that can be tough, but also really freeing. You have to question what you think you know, look at your blind spots, consider things you might have dismissed before.
So it's like a catalyst for self-discovery. It helps you figure out your strengths and weaknesses, where your limits are, and what you're truly capable of.
Precisely. It's having the humility to say, I don't know everything. There's always more to learn. And a lot of times, the best teachers are right there around us, people with different experiences, skills, perspectives.
One of the sources talked about authenticity being important when you ask for help. What did they mean by that?
It means being genuine in your request,
Mhm.
not trying to manipulate someone, but really expressing a need and being open to receiving help.
So it's not just the words, it's how you say it, coming from a place of honesty, vulnerability.
Exactly. That creates a much more meaningful connection. It's not about weakness or dependence. It's about shared humanity. We all need support sometimes, and it's okay to ask.
I love that. It takes the shame away from asking for help and makes it an act of courage, of connection.
It is. It's about accepting that we're all in this together. And when we do that, it opens up so many possibilities for growth, collaboration, and helping each other through tough times.
Wow, we've covered so much. From how hard it can be for alphas to ask for help, to seeing it as a strategy, to how it benefits not just the person asking, but the helper too.
And if we zoom out and look at the big picture, it changes how we think about strength. True strength isn't going it alone, it's knowing when to reach out for support.
Yeah, it's about vulnerability, recognizing we're all connected, and using the collective wisdom and support around us.
And that lets us achieve things we could never do by ourselves.
You know, it's funny. I used to think like asking for help meant you were weak. Like if you couldn't handle it all yourself, you weren't good enough.
Yeah, that's a pretty common way to think about it.
But these sources, they totally changed my mind.
Right. They make a good case for seeing it as a different type of strength.
It's not that, tough guy strength. It's the strength to admit you have limits, to trust others, to build a support system.
Exactly.
One source said the strength to be human, and that really hit me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's like, we're all imperfect, right? We all mess up. We all need help sometimes.
It's true. And being good with that.
Right, being okay with it. And the sources are saying that's actually a good thing.
It is. In fact, accepting that, not needing to be perfect or in control all the time,
Mm-hmm.
that can actually lead to better, more real connections with people.
Makes sense. When you let yourself be vulnerable and the other person responds with kindness and support, that builds a much stronger bond than just pretending you're fine all the time.
Absolutely.
Those real connections, those relationships where you trust each other and help each other out, that's what makes life better, what makes us stronger when things get tough.
I agree.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one big thing you want our listeners to take away?
I'd say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Think of it as a strength, a strategy, a chance to grow. You might be surprised by the positive impact it has, not just for you, but for others too.
That's great. And I would add, remember that asking for help is a gift to yourself and to whoever you're asking. It's a gift of connection, of sharing your experience, of helping each other out. So next time you're struggling, whether it's with a task or something emotional, don't be afraid to reach out. You might just find a whole new level of strength, both within yourself and in your relationships.
Well said.
And on that note, we'll leave you to think about that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep learning, keep connecting, and keep asking for help when you need it.